Hey everybody, welcome back to Almost Sideways, a place for movie conversation. My name is Adam, and in anticipation for Edgar Wright's next film, Last Night in Soho, coming out later on this year, I wanted to go back and take a journey with Edgar Wright and look at all his other films. Today we are talking about Hot Fuzz, and I have a special guest on the channel, so let's roll that intro.
Start with Launchpad McQuack.
That's not the actual title of this.
We are Sex Bombard! 1, 2, 3, 4!
So I do have a guest today, and that is Ryan of the Suit Up Geeks podcast. Ryan, how are you doing, my friend?
Yo, what's going on, Adam? What's going on, Sideway viewers? I'm happy to be here, man.
Absolutely. Quickly before we get into the review, where can we find you on YouTube, social media, and all that fun stuff?
Social media throughout, you guys got it right here. Just Ryan again. Post really bad hot takes on Twitter all the time, so come over, jump over there. I do a podcast with my boys, the Suit Up Geek Fix podcast, over on the Suit Up Geeks channel. We not only do a podcast, but we do a roundtable that Adam was on with us last week, and we do Bad Batch reviews. We do a cool Versus series, and our national monthly drafts that are happening tonight, June 5th. But yeah, guys, go follow the Suit Up TPL Twitter to stay up to date with those. And I got my own channel for my own short films and my podcast called The Backroom Podcast, where we just talk about a film and I get a guest and we just bullshit about it.
All his links to all this cool social media activity will be down in the show notes down below. So make sure you show them some support and have some fun time talking about some hot takes. So there we go. So I'm starting this Edgar Wright series off right, I think. I'm revisiting a movie that I wasn't a huge fan of the first time I watched it. This is only the second time I watched it, and I got to say, that second time completely flipped my thoughts on Hot Fuzz. And I got to talk about this film because you clearly stated before that Hot Fuzz was one of your favorite movies of all time. And if you've never seen Hot Fuzz, let me give you a quick synopsis of what the film is about. This movie came out in 2007 and it's directed by Edgar Wright, and it stars a skilled London police officer is transferred to a small town with a dark secret, and stars Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Bill Nye's in there, Oscar winner Olivia Colman's in there.
Martin Freeman's in it too.
Oh yeah, Martin Freeman shows up in here, and also Jim Broadbent is another one. That was another actor I wanted to mention there. Okay, so Hot Fuzz. Ryan, why do you love Hot Fuzz so much?
So, like, I gotta say this right now. I'm like Edgar Wright cultist, and I love the three movies in the trilogy that him, Nick Frost, and Simon Pegg made together. And this is the second film in that trilogy. And man, I'm not one for a police story. I don't know why. They've never like really been my cup of tea, but I feel like this movie turned that genre on its head, and we get everything against the norm. We get this highly skilled cop who does everything right, but because he's too good at his job, he's placed at a town that gets no crime. Like, bro, it's just like they make him the most useful and make him the most useless at the same time. And I think his personality, Nicolas Angel, is super just like against the authoritative law. And he really puts the small little town on their tip of their toes by really going hard on the teens drinking in the bar and stuff like that, when they've stated millions of times that there's no crime for years within this town. And his relationship with Nick Frost's character, Danny Butterman, the police chief's son, is they have this great dynamic that you can see in every film they do together. But I feel like they have that sweet friendship romance, I guess you can say, within this film the most, because Danny plays the exact opposite of Nicolas in this film. Nicolas is that hard, stern, against the law, for the law type of person. And Danny's kind of this whimsical, kind of out there. He's just like, hey, what's going on, mate? Just super friendly. You just want to hold, hug, and be like, hey, man, let's get a beer. Someone who's super nice, who doesn't see the wrong in anybody. And I think they have this great back and forth in the film that really pays itself because they are best friends in real life. And that's kind of like the general consensus on why I love this movie.
Yeah. I remember looking back on this film, and I just, for whatever reason, I think even looking back at now, I think going back, this is the first film in our journey here, and it's weird that I'm starting off with the second film in the trilogy, but it's one that I figured I should watch, one that I wasn't too high on to begin with, to kind of get a different perspective on Edgar Wright's stuff. I think that's a good starting point for me anyway. That's what my thought process was. But going into Hot Fuzz, the second time, I knew I didn't really care for it too much. It's like my second to the bottom of his list. The World's End would be like my least favorite one. I've only seen that one film once too, so I'm looking forward to doing that one again. But anyway, Hot Fuzz was I thought it was funny, amusing at times, but I just didn't care for it. I prefer to watch Shaun of the Dead. You know, that's my film. Then Scott Pilgrim, and then he made Baby Driver too. But watching this one, I was watching it with my wife, and I don't think she's ever seen it. And we were absolutely hooked on it, and we were laughing throughout. And I was like, man, I don't know what I did not like in it before. Maybe I wasn't paying attention before, but this movie is hilarious. I will say, going back, I think there's a little spots in the middle portion of it that are a little like not as funny, but they're setting up the groundwork what the reveal is going to be at the end of the movie. And then it goes into that big action set piece at the very end. And I think it's all paced really well, and Edgar Wright's style is completely plastered on this. He has a bunch of pop culture references in it. I would love to have that freaking bedroom that opens up those sliding doors and movies are just packed on the wall. Yeah. I talked to my wife, and she's like, if we have a bigger house. I was like, yes ma'am, we got this. We'll get it done. I also really appreciated, because his last name is Angel, his badge number was 777. I was like, it's God's number right there, right? Yeah. I like the little tie into that kind of stuff, and just the different references here. I think this outing played so much better than I actually could have imagined it doing. So definitely appreciated Hot Fuzz a lot more. What's some of your favorite moment? What's your favorite scene in Hot Fuzz?
Oh, dude, my favorite scene is when they just roll up afterwards in the town square in the morning with just the infantry on their back, and they just start pumping caps into the townspeople, and it's just fucking hilarious, bro. Nick Frost and Simon Pegg do that fun, friendly, giddy thing where they're like, action movie time, and they fist pump, and they just take out these shotguns, boom, blasting everybody, and then I like how it's a nice simile of the beginning when he first walked into the town, Nicolas Angel, where it kind of seems like this nice, quaint, everyone's friendly with each other, everyone knows each other. It kind of seems like a routine thing, like this person always rides their bike this way. As this person comes out of the store, they always say hi, something like that. Yeah. And then we go back to the same kind of entrance at the end, but in different circumstances, and everyone realizes that Nick should be dead. And they're all super worried, and they stop their kind of routine thing, and then they just go into a bloodbath, and it turns into this super graphic handheld camera fast cutting action of Nicolas Angel just shooting grannies left and right. Dude, it's just so funny because it's not a movie you would expect this from, especially so far in. You see all these bloody moments and stuff. You see an older person die, but you don't see like the cops going to the townspeople. No questions about it, just blowing caps into them. I love it.
Yeah, I really, the ending it's so ridiculous, and that's what Edgar Wright's known for, is that cartoonish violence over ridiculous cartoon violence here, and it plays really well, and it's gives you the comedic timing of all these kills, but also some of that action that you're just craving for the whole time. You know what's going to happen. You see the poster that's behind us here. You see like big old explosions, so you know there's going to be some references to Bad Boys, Point Break. You want to see this stuff, and we get it in this like final big action set piece. It's amazing. I really love it, and having that twist. This movie came out in 2007, folks. We're spoiling it here. Yeah. Having the police chief like be the guy. This Jim Broadbent is known for having that. So having Jim Broadbent as this revealed, who plays Nick Frost's dad in this movie, he's the police chief of the small town, be revealed as one of the people who is actually in part of this cult that kind of killing these kids and stuff like that too, to keep it zero crime. As my dog barks at the bad guys outside our house, I guess maybe a squirrel. But anyway, I love that reveal. How did you think about that reveal? What did you think about that reveal with Jim Broadbent?
Honestly, it was a pretty shocking reveal. I don't think about the Jim Broadbent itself, the reveal being like super surprising. I think I found more of everyone, the entire town was involved.
Yeah.
That really got me more than the head chief, because you don't expect this giant town to be in on murdering anyone that really just has any resemblance of being negative or harmful to the town. And it's kind of funny thinking back on the plot of this movie, and it's about a town with no crime. The answer is right in front of you. It has no crime because it commits a crime. Like you're sitting there like, bro, it's sitting, the answer is right there. And once you get context behind what it really means, I think it adds a little bit more. And I think that the whole Danny thing worked really well because of his childlike innocence of having his mother die at a young age and seeing his father being this superb person, being the head chief of the police department. Not only is he the head chief, but he's the head chief of the safest town. And he realizes what they're doing, but he thinks of it in the opposite way, that he thinks that it actually is helping them, but not realizing the consequences behind it. And then I feel like once Nicolas Angel, who turns out or becomes his true friend, makes him see the real horror behind it. And he kind of turns on his father and goes back to the police station. And I thought it was a great twist, especially for an Edgar Wright film too at the time. Yeah,
I didn't mention this, but my favorite scene in the movie actually is going to be when it's near the beginning of the movie, when he goes in to meet after he gets his hand stabbed in by the Santa Claus, and they're asking him how's his hand, a little stiff, but having him talk to the different police chiefs, the different chiefs or whatever, and it's like, oh, you want to give us a call? And then guy Steve Coogan, he talks to Martin Freeman first, and he's like, oh, you want to get the next boss up in line to call? No problem.
Sure?
Go. Are you sure? And they call him, and then Steve Coogan comes in. It's like, oh yeah, how's the hand? And it goes to the whole gag, and they're like, oh, you want to go even higher? Okay, we'll call. And Nico walks through the door. It's Bill Nye, the chief. It's awesome. He's like, you're forgetting one important element. What's the team thinking about this? And then they're all just like,
they're all just ready to send him off.
They're like, congratulations. It's comedic timing, and the scene that follows after, not the meeting his girlfriend with all the different people. Like, oh, what was it, Bob that you're sleeping with? No, it's somebody else.
Yeah,
and they're like,
hello.
Right next to him. Hello. But then the whole journey to the small town, carrying his little potted plant like on his lap on the train and everything, it's just brilliant because it tells so much in that little scene without having any talking.
Yeah,
really, and those little comedic moments are classic Edgar Wright tropes for me, and I absolutely just freaking think it's amazing. Any little what else really caught your eye on this before I introduce some cool topics so you can ponder?
There was the scene, like, is just a joke. Like, it has no relevance whatsoever in terms of the story itself, but it's when Danny does the point break shooting at the air. There's absolutely no reason. He's like, ah! Like, over dramatizing it so much, and I'm like, bro, this is so far from what the original scene meant. And it was so funny because he's just trying to be this super badass action hero, and he does it so well of just trying to be like, yeah. It's great.
He's trying to live his Point Break Bad Boys 2 vibes, and I love how they do play tribute to Bad Boys 2. When they do that spinning shot with them, and I love it. They play so many tributes in this one. So when we talk about movies on our podcast, the guys, they do these a lot on their deep dive conversations. Which they have an MVP category. Who is the most valuable player, or most valuable performance in this movie? Like, if he was casted differently, the movie would not nearly be as good.
Easily Simon Pegg.
Absolutely.
I think with Simon Pegg's role, he's the straight guy. And I think playing the straight guy in anything with within comedy, because when you have a straight guy, he's usually the audience. He's usually the person that the screenwriters want to attract to in this pretty insane world. And for example, I think Jim from The Office is a perfect example of this, because we're supposed to be that person. We're supposed to be the normal person while these less normal things are going around us. Like, when do we ever run into a town with no crime? When do we ever run into a police department that literally doesn't do anything because there's nothing to do? You know what I mean? And I think Simon Pegg plays him so well, and even in the most bizarre moments, even when he's having fun with Danny, he's still that straight personality. He's even making jokes, but you can tell that he's letting his guard and defense down a little bit, because he is genuinely having fun for a character who just lives by the books, who lives by his job. That's all he lives by. And I think Simon Pegg just understood this role so well, because he had that connection with Nick Frost and Edgar Wright previously, that I couldn't see anyone else being in this role. I don't know if you feel the same.
No, I definitely do. I think he's perfectly cast in this role. And if you didn't pick him, I was for sure going to pick Simon Pegg in this role here. If I had to throw at anybody else, Jim Broadbent as this police commissioner, because he's so well mannered. It kind of resembles the town perfectly. I don't want to picture anybody but him being in this role. I don't know. Jim Broadbent is funny, but Simon Pegg by far is the clear most valuable player in this movie. Like, best performance. If anybody else, if his role was switched out and he was a different character, he'd still probably be really good in it. But it's Simon Pegg, and he's fantastic as his lead. Probably out of the trilogy, this is probably his best movie that he's in.
I agree.
This is the best standout. So then they also do a worst performance. Do you know who would your worst performance in the movie be?
Man, this is a hard one, because I think they're all really good. If I had to choose someone who I guess didn't do the best performance, I think it lends a little bit more to, this guy's the villain and you guys know it. I forgot the actor's name, but he played the head of the Walmart
or Simon Skinner, right?
Yeah, Simon Skinner. Yeah, he played the CEO or the owner.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton himself, James Bond.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton, dude. I think it wasn't the acting. I think it was more so the role, if I really had to say it, just because it's the role, who he's playing. That's the joke of the movie. He looks so villainous and evil that I feel like it really doesn't take too much, especially when Edgar Wright knows how to film it perfectly to make you feel like he's the villain. And that's really all you need. But I know it's for the joke, so it's really hard to criticize it. Yeah. But I would say out of the weakest, Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, that's he would be my choice for a different category, and I'll introduce that in a second. But I think my worst performance is actually one of the police guys. I can't remember exactly. He was the one that I think it's people with the police. He was the guy with the glasses. I think that's who it is. I'm thinking it's the guy with the glasses and one of the police officers who always would come in and said, "Oh, you're this big fancy detective. Don't you know who it is? It's just clearly an accident." I don't know. My wife clearly thought that was Bill Hader the whole time. And I was like, no, I said, that's not Bill Hader. It would be perfect if he got recasted as Bill Hader. I think it would have been perfect. But for every reason, that's my least performance. And also every review they always do. Who would Nicolas Cage play in this? If you had to recast one character, who would Nicolas Cage play?
Nicolas Cage could easily play either Timothy Dalton's role or the police commissioner. One of the two.
I would be totally down for either one of those. Or I actually would. I wouldn't be too bad. I wouldn't be mad at if you played that crappy Romeo actor.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny as the a cameo. See, if he wanted to do a cameo type thing, that'd be a perfect role. But if he wanted to be in the movie, I would definitely go with one of the other two.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, if you want premiere freakouts of Nicolas Cage, you're casting him as Romeo in this movie. Yeah. I think. Yeah, you're casting him as Romeo. Yeah, he has that suave personality there too. Let's see. What's another category they like to do? They like to do the biggest douchebag in the movie. Who's the biggest douchebag in here?
Man, dude, there's a lot of douchebags in this movie. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think I'm gonna go with Timothy Dalton again, bro.
There we go.
He's really I would say he is like either Timothy Dalton or one of the Siamese twins as the police officers that they're just dicks throughout the entire movie. The only reason why I choose Timothy Dalton over the twins is because the twins do have like a change of heart by the end. But dude, Timothy Dalton's just a prick throughout the entire film. It's like he's being sarcastic about everything. He's lying about everything. He's telling you, but he's just playing it so well. It's just making you question it. But by the end, and he like starts unraveling like, I hate you. Nicolas Angel, and just gets his jaw impaled. It's just like satisfying.
Yeah. And maybe that's why he could be borderline one of the best and worst performances in this movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So fantastic. Yeah.
It's so wild.
Yeah. I biggest douchebag. Good call on the Andes. The Andes being there because they're pretty. They do have a change of heart, but they're in the running for sure. I guess the other police in London would think Nicolas Angel would be the biggest douchebag because they're making everybody else look bad. I think also I'm gonna go with the guy. Oh no, Bob is Joe Cornish was Bob. That was the girl that his girl Nicolas Angel's boyfriend or girlfriend was cheating on him with.
Oh,
that's who Bob is. That I just remember because that's who I would say. The guy, biggest douchebag is the guy cheating with the Nicolas Angel's girl. No, biggest douchebag for me would be Bob because he clearly just got revealed to be, oh yeah, I'm sleeping with a girl. Hello, just like, oh yeah, get out of here, Bob. Get the hell out of here.
Don't be so happy, asshole.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell?
And that was Cate Blanchett too, so I don't blame him.
Oh, jeez, yeah. There we go. Yeah, I don't blame him. Yeah, don't blame. The next category is the biggest stick man, the guy who really just gets it in. He's the one you know that he's getting some action off camera. I'm trying not to say what it. Do you understand the description?
No, I think I understand it.
He's like the playboy. He's the one that's totally having like all the relationships. He's having a lot of sex.
It's the dude that played Romeo. Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
I forgot the character's name because bro, he literally had that chick by his side and like a bunch of other women at that after party by his side. Absolute playboy.
Yeah, there we go. Playboy. That makes sense. I would have borderline throw in Skinner, Timothy Dalton's character in it because he's by far like probably he's a good looking guy in that small town of nobody and he's cocky and that lady's always in his office like that one. Yeah, she's always in his office. What are they doing in the manager's office all the time? They're managing. They're managing a situation here.
Yeah. They're filing some cabinets.
Yeah, exactly. More innuendos. Insert your innuendo here. Moving on to we already talked about our best scene. How about any gripes in the film? I know this is one of your favorite ones. Is there anything like maybe like this always kind of bugged me here?
Man, dude, it's hard, really. Oh man, I don't know. I don't think I would change anything about this movie, to be honest. I love every single second of it.
I have a gripe.
Yeah, I'm curious.
For a guy who is so known for loving action movies, Point Break, and Bad Boys 2, and having that big open movie, I would find it hard to believe that he was not well versed in Jackie Chan movies, that he did not know what Super Cop was. When he's in the supermarket looking at all his movies, he picked up Super Cop and had no idea what it was. And he's like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." Blah blah blah. I was like, "You had to know what Super Cop was. That's an action icon, and you love action movies." I doubt. I give him the other movie. I can't remember what the other movie's called.
But I should have done a Terminator reference, like an "I'll Be Back" reference would have fit perfectly in this movie.
Yeah. So that's my little small gripe. He should have known what Super Cop was. Like, come on. It's obvious. Like, it's Jackie Chan crying out loud.
Anyway. Yeah, who doesn't know Jackie Chan? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, come on, the tuxedo? Classic. No, I'm just kidding. Don't watch the tuxedo with Jennifer Love Hewitt and Jackie Chan. Closing thoughts on Hot Fuzz. I know we're kind of talking about it and sharing our thoughts on it. What's if somebody has never seen the movie, why should they watch this movie?
I think, like I said, in the introduction, this takes the cop genre or subgenre and really twists it on its head. It's not your typical crime cop thriller. It's not really even a thriller at all. I think it's got the really good comedic moments. I think our two leads are perfectly matched together because of that friendship they had previous, and that's why I think without those two, this movie probably would have crumbled. And Edgar Wright's editing style fits perfectly within this film, and I think he knows that when he writes his movies, he knows how he's going to edit them, and I think that's how he incorporates it. And for a movie that doesn't really seem all too violent at first, this movie gets really violent.
Yeah,
I would say after the halfway mark, like, people's chins are going through things. Someone's getting like a piece of the church dropped on their head, getting their gut spilled all over the place. Like, the movie's pretty fucking violent and has some really cool kills, I'd like to say. I also gotta say to it, it's got a pretty memorable third act. Like I said, going into the town square, popping all the old people because it's only the old people in the town that are the bad guys, which seems pretty ironic. Like I said, it turns your typical violent thing of it being a younger person or something like that. Now it's all the older people. They all got their shotguns within their little baskets and pistols on their bikes and stuff, like pulling them out of places. I'm pretty sure one of them pulls it out of their skirts too. Like they pulls one out, like in these most absurd places out of nowhere. It turns into a warfare, and we touched on it too. I think the twist is really well done for a movie that you didn't really think would have a twist or a twist as big as that. And yeah, dude, I just think it's a fun, energetic movie along with some really good pacing. I was looking, this film's 2 hours long. You never even know.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Exactly.
I mentioned a little pacing thing. I thought it was a little slow in the transition part where he feels the reveal, then going back to the town. I was like, but then it goes by like that. And for 2 hours, I didn't even realize I was sitting there for 2 hours. It felt a lot shorter.
And there's a cliche that I'm really glad he joked at. And it's when in the beginning, they look at their lockers to see like what they've taken in from crimes and stuff. And because it's a town with no crime, they have nothing in the evidence lockers. But they go to like some dude's house, they find a fucking infantry of weapons, like bazookas and stuff. Next thing you know, they got a whole like brigade of it in their pockets, and it goes to the thing like, where'd you get all these fucking weapons from the other films? So I thought that was a nice little subtle joke at those movies.
Yeah, it's such a fun movie. I'm so glad I rewatched it, and I'm so glad this is the first film that we're doing in our Edgar Wright journey, because I appreciate this movie a lot more now, and this is actually one I don't own, so I'm gonna go try to find this on 4K Blu-ray or whatever the case may be, and I'm gonna add this to my collection because this is one that I definitely want to rewatch, because it is, and who knows, after doing this rewatch, it might actually move up in my ranking of Edgar Wright, and pretty damn excited. What was that?
It definitely will. Where is it? I have the 4K thing of it somewhere, but they for like $25 I got this thing. 4K, all three trilogy movies.
Oh, there we go. So I don't have The World's End either.
Yeah, so dude.
I might as well.
For like $30 on like Amazon or Best Buy, you can buy them.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. So there we go. Got to get it. So in closing, I think this is definitely an awesome film. And next month, guys, we're doing these once a month leading up to Last Night of Soho. I will actually have another Loretto is actually coming on, and we're talking Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, he loves Shaun of the Dead. I know he loves Shaun of the Dead.
So that's what we're talking about next. Really excited for this series, and really appreciate you being on here, Ryan, and reviewing Hot Fuzz with me and talking about why we love this movie. So
no, thank you so much for having me on, Adam. I appreciate coming on and having the time to come here and talk to you about one of the best Edgar Wright films of all time.
There we go. So because you're here, might as well. What is your current ranking of all the Edgar Wright films while I have you here?
Hot Fuzz. Yeah. Shaun of the Dead is number 2. By the way, Baby Driver was his last film that he directed before Night in Soho. Then I would say Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim, and World's End. But I love World's End at the same time. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love World's End.
Nice. That's a good ranking. I have similar stuff. I won't reveal mine because I'm thinking of doing a video for it later because you get what you do on these big giant collaboration things. But yeah, Hot Fuzz, fantastic film. Love that. I'm glad that's number one on your list, and I had to have you on talking about it. So much appreciated. In closing, where can we find you on YouTube and social media?
You guys on Twitter, as per usual, just Ryan again, Suit Up Geeks or the Suit Up Geeks on Twitter and YouTube. We do drafts, we do a versus series, we take two movies, we compete them against each other, we do actual math. I know we're not in high school anymore and we still do math. Who the fuck does that? We do for you guys. That's all I gotta say. And then I got my own personal channel called the Geek Fix channel, where I don't really post real videos. I just post my short films that I'm working on, some skits, and my weekly podcast where I just take a movie and I get a guest to come on, sit back, chill, relax, and just talk about it, have a good discussion.
So all his links will be in the show notes down below. Hopefully get have a fun conversation on one of his channels again soon. And if you guys are looking for us, we're not just, the conversation doesn't end or doesn't stop once this video is over. We are also a podcast. You could make sure you guys subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, and Stitcher. This thing is not working. There we go. There's the thing. Anyway, and also make sure you guys check out. We're starting Edgar Wright journey today. We're having a Spielberg journey leading up to West Side Story as well. And I think this month is going to be Raiders of the Lost Ark with another guest. So stay tuned for a lot of fun content, and make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Until next time, my name is Adam, and that is Ryan, and we will see you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.